Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Hope everybody's having a magnificent day so far today. It is Free Your Mind Friday, y'all. It is Free Your Mind Friday. So let's definitely give God a round of applause and thanks for allowing us to make it through another week alive and well. Just thank God for the opportunity to still be here. I just want to thank God for, again, allowing me to have the grace and the patience and the favor to still push through and get through the things that I face on a daily basis. I hope everybody's having an amazing Friday. I truly, truly do. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Come on in. Welcome in, God Built Mama. Thank you for coming in. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you're having a blessed and an amazing Friday. Thank God we've made it through the week, and we are finally here to Friday. Welcome in, Becoming Her. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate y'all who stopped coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If y'all don't mind just sharing out the live for me. Sharing out the live for me. Yes, yes, yes. I truly appreciate y'all so much for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope everybody's having a magnificent day so far and not allowing the world and the things going on in the world to affect you in a negative or condescending way. But anyway, how's everybody doing on this Friday? Welcome in, Big Country. Good afternoon. Thank you. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? Play with your mama. Welcome in. Good afternoon, Jerry. Now, for everybody that's in, if you guys don't mind resharing out the live and reposting the live for me, I would truly appreciate it. Welcome in, Miss Sagittarius. Thank you for coming in. All right. Welcome in, Dade County Devonair. Thank you for coming in, sir. And I appreciate the love on my page as well. All right, y'all. So, excuse me. Today is Free Your Mind Friday. We are definitely talking about control. Control. And basically, I'm going to be talking about that control is an illusion. We have to truly let go and let God, because even with us planning and always trying to figure it out, sometimes it's our own understanding is not the purpose or the reasoning why God has us going certain ways. And some things we don't need to plan out. We just need to let them go and let them play out the way that they're supposed to play out. All right. I appreciate you, Dade County. Appreciate you. Welcome in, Brie Elena. Thank you for coming in. Welcome in, Fire. Thank you for coming in. All right. I appreciate everybody for being in here. Welcome in, Gabby. If you guys, again, don't mind just sharing out the live for me and reposting it just so we can reach as many people as we possibly can today. Again, today we're talking about control, and it is Free Your Mind Friday. Free Your Mind Friday is basically on this platform is when I allow individuals to come up and express themselves, share their testimonies, just get things off of their chest and out of their mind so they can go into the weekend with a positive mindset and a better outlook on their life and the situations that they're in to start the next week off better. All right. Welcome in, Chantel. Thank you for coming in. So that is what today's live will be about. So we're going to jump right into it so we can get to the main points, because we may be able to play a game today. Who knows? But anyway, welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day on this Friday. Welcome back to another Free Your Mind Friday on the No Fear, No Doubt Positive Life Coaching Podcast, where we free our mind from fear, doubt, anxiety, limiting beliefs, and everything that keeps us from becoming the person God created us to be. Today, we're talking about something that affects every single one of us at some point of our life, and that is control. Control. The need to know, the need to plan, the need to predict, the need to manage every outcome, the need to make sure everything goes exactly the way that we think it should. And the reason why I say think is because sometimes the dreams and the visions and the goals that we have set for our lives are not the true things that God has destined for us. So that's why I said some of the things that we think that we should be doing in our lives. All right. Welcome in, Lady Delphina. Thank you for coming in. All right. Welcome in, Miss B. So If we're being honest, many of us are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted because we're trying to control things that were never ours to control in the first place. All right? Before we can free our lives, we have to free our minds. And that's a fact. That's exactly why I came up with Free Your Mind Friday, because we have to release these things that we are holding on to in our heads that we think that we have to come up with a solution with, when it's not meant for us to even come up with a solution. It's just meant for us to really lay it at God's feet and move forward, and to not allow it to hinder our growth. Because the more that we try to solve these issues and problems, sometimes we make more problems by picking the wrong choice or the wrong decision to make. And now we're still going in that vicious circle and never found the solution in the beginning. All right. Now, many people aren't trapped by their circumstances. They are trapped by their need for control. They're exhausted from trying to predict every outcome, fix every problem, manage every relationship, and carry burdens God never asked them to carry. All right. Today's Free Your Mind Friday challenge is simple. Free your mind from the illusion that everything depends on you. Free your mind from the illusion that everything depends on you. Because the moment you release control is the moment you create room for faith. All right? The moment you release control is the moment you create room for faith. All right? And that's the most important thing that we need, which is faith, faith, faith. All right? And where faith grows, fear loses its power. That's what no fear, no doubt. Nope. That is what no fear, no doubt is about. Let's be real. We want control over our finances, our careers, our healing, our relationships, our children, our future, and even sometimes how people see us. Good afternoon, Angel. Thank you for coming in. KLP, thank you for coming in as well. But here's the truth. The more you try to control everything, the less peace you experience. And a lot of people ask, well, why is that? That is because control is often rooted in fear. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the disappointment, the uncertainty, and fear of not knowing what's next. That's usually what it is. Everybody wants to know what's next. Well, what happens after this? Well, what happens after this? And again, sometimes it's not meant for us to know because we're constantly driving ourselves insane trying to know what's next. And again, that's not meant for us to know. That's where our faith tunes in and allows us to trust and believe the things that God has shown us or is directing us into. So what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if God doesn't come through? And because we're afraid, we try to take control because we don't understand what God is doing in our lives or which direction God is directing us. We want to automatically take control and be like, well, since God's not talking to me or isn't answering me and I don't know what's next, I want to be the one that has control. I want to make sure that I'll be able to see my future and my past by the choices that I make and not just trust in something that I don't see or I can't touch. But faith and control cannot sit in the same driver's seat at the same time. Control requires certainty. Faith requires trust. Control says, I need to know. Faith says, trust God even when you don't know. Control says, I got this. Faith says, God, you got this. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in life is because they need guarantees before they move. I need to guarantee I'm going to be safe, guarantee that I'm going to make enough money, guarantee that I'm able to take care of my family for the rest of my life. So those are the things the reason why people stay stuck in life. All right. They want certainty before obedience. Obedience. That's many times I can say that. Answers before actions, proof before faith. But that's not how God works. All right. If God showed us every step, we wouldn't need faith. We wouldn't need faith if God showed us everything that we were going to encounter, how it was going to turn out, what would happen when we made that choice or decision. What would be the point of trusting and believing in God if he told us everything? If he revealed the entire journey, we would never learn to dependence on him. That's why Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. That's basically saying, stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to lean onto your own understandings to solve all the problems and issues that you got going on in your life. Seek him and everything else will fall in line. That's basically what that scripture is saying. Once you start trusting in him and obeying him and understanding the purpose that he has over your life, then everything else will fall in line. The happiness that you're looking for, the peace that you're looking for, the financial freedom that you're looking for, the business ownership that you're looking for. It all falls into place when you truly surrender and give everything to God. All right. Notice what God didn't say. He didn't say figure out everything. He didn't say understand every detail. He didn't say create the perfect 5-year plan. He just said trust in him. Trust in him and everything else will follow. All right. Many of us are delaying our breakthrough because we're trying to understand what God is asking us to trust. Let that sink in. All right. Most of us are delaying our breakthrough because we're trying to understand what God is asking us to trust. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate the follow. Sometimes your greatest obstacles isn't the situation. Sometimes it's your need to know everything. Sometimes we're just a little too nosy. We want to know the reasons of why this is happening. Why did it have to go this way? Well, what happens if I choose this? Well, what happens if I don't? Sometimes it's your need to know everything. And let's talk about the hidden cost of control. We're going to talk about the things that you lose while you're trying to gain all this control. One thing that control creates is anxiety, because you always want to know, make sure you're planning and make sure you're figuring it all out, make sure it's all aligned for that particular date or that time when it's needed. Control also fuels overthinking. Oh, well, maybe I need to save $50 this week. Oh, no, maybe I need to save $50 or $100 every 2 weeks. So you're always combating with yourself, trying to figure out which solution is going to best work, when you truly need to just live life, give it to God, and everything else will flow. All right. Control also causes unnecessary stress, and it steals your peace, because how do you have peace if you're always trying to figure things out? And like the example that I shared on Wednesday was like, what if when doesn't it feel better to be able to walk through a door and don't have to do anything, and everything is already aligned for you, and you don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it, you can just continue to be who you are and focus on life, instead of walking in the door, having to figure out, how much money needs to go here, what do I have to do to be able to reach that successful point in about 2 weeks? Like, it just gives you a break. It doesn't allow you to have to carry more weight on you than you're already carrying, because life, we already know, is heavy and hard. So control keeps us holding on to people and situations God is telling us to release. And that's what I talked about earlier this week too. We can't hold on to things that we feel is beneficial when technically it's hurting us and breaking us down within. Welcome in, Nicole. Thank you for coming in. And thank you, Lisa, for the follow and the shares. Control makes us force doors open that God never intended us to walk through. Control keeps us operating from fear instead of faith. And the worst part, control tricks us into believing we're making progress when we're actually standing still. Exactly. Well, I got it all figured out. I know how I'm going to do it. I know how much money I have saved so I can go on this Florida trip. And I know how much money I have saved for my retirement. Yeah, it makes you feel like you're stable. But then what happens when something comes that you unexpectedly didn't expect to happen and wipes out or erases every plan that you had set? What are you going to do then? That is the question that you need to ask yourself. Since I have all these plans and all these things set and memorized or have it all aligned that we think, what happens if we have an unexpected emergency or something occurs and none of those plans are able to work? That's right, Lisa. We have no choice but to trust in God. That's the only option that we have, is to trust in God. So we spend so much time planning that we never move. We spend so much time worrying that we never trust. We spend so much time trying to protect ourselves that we never grow. Now, let's talk about the difference between surrender and submission, which I already did earlier this week on Wednesday, but I wanted to tap into it a little bit more because I feel like you have to surrender and submit to God in order to let the control go, if that makes sense. I hope y'all caught that. You have to be able to surrender and submit to God in order to let your control go. I know we always feel safe because we know how we got it all figured out. We see how we want our lives to be, what we expect, to be in a certain amount of time. But God can change all of that and within a second, within a day. Something can happen tomorrow and the whole dream that you had of your goals and your future can be erased. So many people think they're the same thing, but they're not. Surrender is releasing control. We never really, that's true, Nicole. We are never truly in control. Surrendering is releasing control. Submission is following God's direction after you release control. All right, that's the difference. Surrender says, God, I give you the situation to you. Submission says, God, wherever you lead me next, I will follow. All right. Many people surrender temporarily. Many people surrender temporarily. They will temporarily say, well, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to overeat. I'm not going to fornicate. I'm not going to lust. But they never submit consistently, meaning because there really is an everyday thing. Every day we have to submit and surrender to God. Every single day. Every single day. It is a daily thing that we have to submit ourselves to God because each and every day there's a different challenge. There's a different obstacle. There's a different thing that we face that we may not, know how to handle or know how to get through. So we have to give ourselves to God so he can lead us and guide us each and every morning when we wake up, because sometimes the ideas of what our day is going to be that's not what it needs to be. But they never submit consistently. Now, we pray, we worry, they release it, then pick it back up. They trust God on Sunday, then try to control everything Monday through Saturday. Hi, welcome in, Brittany. Nice to see you. Yeah, you did. All right. So true freedom comes when surrender and submission works together. You release what you cannot control, then you trust God enough to follow where he leads. All right. Jesus demonstrates this perfectly in Luke 22:42 when he prayed. And I shared this on Wednesday as well. Not my will, but yours be done. OK, not my will, but yours be done. That is basically saying that each and every day when we wake up in the morning, before we touch our phones, turn on the TV, turn on music, before we even get out of bed, we truly need to say, God, I thank you for this day. And today I want to submit to you and be submissive to you to let you know that I want less of me today and more of you. Less of me today and more of you so you can guide me, protect me, and lead me through the day. All right. That wasn't weakness. That was strength. That was surrender. That was submission. That was complete trust in God's purpose. And that's exactly what God is asking many of us to do today. Yes, very hard. That is the perfect word, stubborn, because we're so stuck in our ways and we feel like our way is always right. And our stubbornness is going to get us lost and going to get us stuck, because God don't deal with stubbornness. He'll definitely not turn his back on you, but he'll let you, fight with that stubbornness and try to figure it out until you truly come to him. It's work. It's definitely some work. All right. Now, that was complete trust in God's purpose. And that's exactly what God is asking many of us to do today. Trust him with the business. Trust him with the dream. Trust him with the healing. Trust him with the relationship. Trust him with your heart. Trust him with your mind. Trust him with the waiting season. Trust him with the process. Trust him with the outcome. Is strong-willed the same as stubborn? Yes. Yes, Grace. Yes, it is. Because you're very strong-willed to mean that nothing can change your mind. Nobody or nothing can change your focus because you're so strong-will-minded that your answer and your solution will always work. Yes, that is definitely being stubborn. I like that word better. Okay. Welcome in, everybody. Thank y'all for coming in. All right. So, again, trust him through it all. Trust him through everything that you deal with in life, in everything that you do. And again, Isaiah 45:2 says, I will go before you and make the crooked places straight. Notice who makes the crooked places straight, y'all. God. Nobody else. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your cousins, not your sisters, not your life therapist, not your counselor, not your teacher, not your husband, not your wife, not your boyfriend, not your kids. Nothing can make crooked places straight but God. Well, thank you, Christina. Thank you for coming in, and I hope you come back again. Thank you so much. Notice who makes the crooked place straight. God. Not your stress, not your overthinking, not your endless planning. God. Some of us are exhausted because we're trying to do God's job. Some of us are exhausted because we are trying to do God's job. All right. We're trying to open doors. We're trying to face opportunities. We're trying to fix people. We're trying to carry burdens God never assigned to us. Family, your job is obedience. That's it. Obedience is the whole point. When you submit and when you submit and give submission to God, it's showing obedience. And obedience is all that is needed to be seen in God's eyes to know that you are really trusting in him, that you believe in him, that he will make those crooked places straight, that he will, fulfill every need that you need in your life. That is the part that we have to focus on, is the obedience. We always want to do stuff our own way. We want to figure out our own way, or we can do it this way and it's going to always work. But no, we need to do it God's way. We need to make sure that we are going into these places aligned and able to achieve these things, because we get so focused on the popularity, to be seen, the people pleasing, to be noticed, that we lose our whole purpose of why we're in certain positions and places that we are. All right. So God's job is the outcome. Your job is the faithfulness. Your job is the trust. And because God's job is the provision and the direction. We just have to give all the rest of that up and have the faith and the trust in him to get us where we need to be. And when you understand that, life becomes lighter. Not because challenges disappear, but because you're no longer carrying them alone. You're walking with God. You're walking with someone that is actually helping you carry that mantle or that weight that you've been carrying by yourself this whole time. It's just changing your mindset, the way you view things, the way you think about things. Instead of looking at it as, oh, I got so many bills to pay. Thank God I have the money to pay all these bills. So it's the way that you view things, not always looking at the negative side of things and always seeing the positive out of every situation, because everything happens for a reason. God has everything happening for a particular reason. It's either a lesson or something that we can learn from and grow from, or something that we actually go through so we can share with other individuals to get through what they're going through. Now, because you're no longer carrying them alone, you're walking with God. And when God is leading you, you don't have to control everything. You simply have to follow. The life you're praying for may be waiting on the other side of your surrender. The peace you're looking for may be waiting on the other side of your trust. The breakthrough you're seeking may be waiting on the side of your obedience. The true question is, are you willing to let go? The real question is, are you willing to let go, to surrender, to submit, and allow God to take over? That's my challenge for this month. Every negative thought, make it positive. Yes. And my love, Upshaw, that is just, welcome in, Coach D, and I appreciate you. And Miss Love, that's exactly why I play that game, the mindset game, because I want people to start understanding that the negative thoughts, the negative things they're going to come. They're always going to come. But you have to stop those thoughts in the process of you thinking them and change it. You got to start thinking positive, speaking life over yourself, speaking life over the situation, speaking life over the things that you don't even understand. But it's the fact that you have to change that mindset, because again, like I say all the time, your mindset is like sugars to ants. One negative thought happens and then they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. So change that in the process of while you're thinking, and say something positive, because once you start saying something positive, that again changes your mindset, because positive thoughts produce positive actions that produce positive results. All right. So we got to keep pushing, guys. I know there's so much darkness in this world and you just want to give up. You want to quit. The world is heavy. These situations, these bills, and look, these businesses and these companies ain't giving us enough money to provide. But again, when you trust in God and surrender and give it all to him, you have no worries. You have no doubts and fears, because he's leading you. He's guiding you. And he's going to provide everything that you need in your life. Again, that you need in your life, not that you desire or what you want, but the needs in your life will be fulfilled by your obedience. Thank you. That's right, Lisa. He didn't say they weren't going to come. He gave us the equipment to be able to fight and get through those trials. The whole armor of God, the trusting and believing in him, the faith, the gifts that he's already instilled in us that we know that we have. He will give us desires, 3M powered, but that's the thing. Some of us sometimes put our desires before God. Like for example, I desire to be a veterinarian, or I desire to be very wealthy. And we put those desires in front of God, and we forget that God is the reason for all of that. So that's why I say the needs. God will fulfill the needs. And if the desires are something that he feels is part of your purpose, he will give you those too. But again, they all have to be aligned in what God wants for you, not what you want for yourself. That was powerful. Did y'all just hear that? God will align you with the desires and the needs of your life that's, for your purpose, not for what you want to do and what you think is, the goal for your end times, the time that you want to be who you need to be. So now, with that being said, I do have some critical thinking questions that I wanted to ask real quick. You guys can definitely either answer in the chat or just write them down for your future reference to go over with yourself or with family members later. So the first question is, what fear is hiding behind the need of control? What fear is hiding behind the need for control? All right. Second question. Am I trusting God's plan or leaning on my own understanding? Am I trusting God's plan or leaning on my own understanding? Great question. And the last question. What is one thing I need to release today? What is one thing I need to release today? All right. Losing power. Losing power of what, Grace? Power of what? What you losing power from, Grace? Because you control your own life. You're not losing power. You're just allowing God to guide you to. I know it's the first question, but why are you? What am I trying to say? You said you have the fear of losing power. The power to do what, though? Is that the power to make choices? Lose the power of negativity? Okay, I got you. It all makes sense now. Just wanted to make sure. I appreciate you for answering, though. Thank you to Lisa as well for answering in the chat. Now, some words of encouragement before we jump to the game. Family, stop carrying what God never asked you to carry. Stop stressing over outcomes that belong to him. Stop trying to control every chapter when God already knows how the story ends. You don't need all of the answers. You don't need every detail. You don't need complete certainty. You just need enough faith to take the next step. The greatest act of faith is not believing God can do it. The greatest act of faith is releasing control long enough for him to do it. What you surrender to God becomes the very thing he uses to transform your life. So release the fear, release the pressure, release the need to know, and release the need to control. And trust that God can do more with your surrender than you could ever do with your striving. And trust that God can do more with your surrender than you could ever do with your striving. I got you, Nicole. I got you. All right. And remember, control creates pressure. Faith creates peace. Faith creates freedom. Control keeps you stuck. Faith moves you forward. You were never created to control everything. You were created to trust the one who already does. Again, you were never created to control everything. You were created to trust the one who already does. All right, Nicole, I got you. All right. So with no fear, no doubt, just faith. Keep growing, keep trusting, keep moving forward. All right. And until next time, y'all, free your mind and let the rest will follow. Free your mind and seek God, and the rest will follow. All right. After the thought, I see some want to control as an ego boost. Yes, I agree. A lot of people do like to have control because they never had control of anything in their life. They've always been looked down upon. They've always never had any sense of control in their life in general. So now they have that power, and now they use it wrongfully to make them feel empowered. Welcome in, Evangelist. Nice to see you, sir. Welcome in, everybody that just came in. Again, this is Free Your Mind Friday with Coach No Fear on the No Fear, No Doubt Positive Life Coaching Podcast. Today's topic we talked about control, about releasing control and submitting and being submissive to God so He can control our lives and, push us through things that we feel like we can handle. But sometimes we have to truly let go and let God. Welcome in, TT Fitness. I appreciate you for coming in on the end, but it's all good. I know you have work today. Recap, please. Okay. All right. I'll do a quick recap. It was a lot of information, TT, but I'm going to do it just because you the homie. All right. We're going to do a quick recap. All right, y'all. Quick recap, because I still want it's Free Your Mind Friday, so I want people to come up and share testimonies and get things off of their mind if they have something on their mind, So again, Free Your Mind Friday's topic was control. We talked about many people aren't trapped by their circumstances. They're trapped by the need for control. They're exhausted for trying to predict every outcome, fix every problem, manage every relationship, and carry burdens God never asked them to carry. We also talked about that we always want control over everything: our finances, our careers, our healing, our relationships, our future. And the more you try to control everything, the less peace you experience. You have something on your mind? All right. I do have a question too, so please DM me. All right. Well, how about this? How about y'all DM me the questions and then I will, get to you guys. Honestly, I probably will not remember. But back to the recap. Because control is often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, fear of uncertainty, and fear of not knowing what's next. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if God doesn't come through? What if things don't happen according to my timeline? And that's where we have to realize that sometimes things are not in our control. It's not up to our timeline. It's up to God's purpose and meaning for our lives. And because we're afraid, we try to take control. But faith and control cannot sit in the driver's seat at the same time. Control requires certainty and faith requires trust. All right. So we also talked about Proverbs 3:5-6, which says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him and He shall direct your paths. Notice what God didn't say. He didn't say figure everything out. He didn't say understand every detail. He also didn't say create the 5-year plan. He said trust Him. Trust in Him and everything else will work. Everything else will fall into place. Seek Him and I promise you, everything that you are missing in your life, God will start to fulfill everything that you are missing. All right. Many of us are delaying our breakthrough because we're trying to understand what God is asking us to do, asking us to trust. So we can't keep delaying our breakthrough because we're trying to figure out what God is doing. We just have to let go and let Him do what He needs to do. We need to step out of the way of ourselves and blocking our growth and allow God to work within us. All right. We also talked about control tricks us into believing that we're making progress when we're actually standing still. We spend so much time trying to protect ourselves that we never grow. All right. We spend so much time trying to protect ourselves that we never grow. Many people think they're the same, that surrender and submission are the same thing. But actually, surrender is releasing control. Submission is following God's direction after you release control. All right. And again, many people surrender temporarily, but they never submit consistently. And that's probably right, Chris Love. He will definitely put you in a place where you have no reason but to do your own thing. Like, he'll put you in a hard situation where you really have to do nothing but lean on Him and trust Him through the process. But anyway, so when people don't submit, or excuse me, don't only surrender temporarily, they pray, they worry, they release it, but then they pick it right back up. Welcome in, Sassy. Thank you for coming in. They trust God on Sunday, then try to control everything Monday through Saturday. True freedom comes when surrender and submission work together. You release what you cannot control, then you trust God enough to follow where he leads. Thank you for the follow, Sassy. Jesus demonstrated his perfectly, and he demonstrated this perfectly in Luke 22:42, when he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." That wasn't weakness, that was strength, that was surrender, that was submission. That was complete trust in God's purpose. And that's exactly what God is asking many of us to do today. Trust him with the business, trust him with our dreams, trust him with the healing, trust him with the relationship, the waiting season, the process, and trust him with the outcome. Some of us are exhausted because we're trying to do God's job. We are trying to open doors, trying to force opportunities, to fix people, and that's God's job. God's job is the outcome. Our job is the faithfulness. God's job is the provision. Our job is the trust. God's job is direction. When you understand that, life becomes lighter, not because challenges disappear, but because you're no longer carrying them alone. You're walking with God, and when God is leading you, you don't have to control everything. You simply just have to follow. All right? You just have to follow. Now, the life you're praying for may be waiting on the other side of your surrender. The peace you're looking for may be waiting on the other side of your trust. The breakthrough you are seeking may be waiting on the other side of your obedience. The question is, though, are you willing to let go and let God? Are you willing to let go and let God? That is the question. All right. And look, that was a quick recap of what today's topic was about. Again, it's just about letting go of the control and being less of you and more of God within you. We just have to start realizing that sometimes our purposes and the dreams and the goals that we have set for our lives are not truly what God has aligned for us, you know? So we have to start really praying, seeking God, reading our Bible, and building our relationship with God to get a better understanding of where we need to be go, like where we need to be led. Where is God sending us? What is God showing us? Because there's a message in everything. God puts a message in everything that happens in our lives. Because again, everything happens for a reason. You're welcome, Grace. Thank you so much. Now, with that being said, does anybody have anything they would like to say or come up to share, a testimony, just some words of encouragement, anything like that? If you would like to, just hit the request button and I would definitely let you come up to talk. This is, again, Free Your Mind Friday. This is the open platform. There's no judgment here. Just come to release yourself and to be free. All right. Yes, I would definitely give you a prayer of strength. And that's funny. TT Fitness, not funny, but it's amazing that you're the second person that requests strength, a prayer for strength. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. And somebody is requesting to come up, so give me one moment, y'all. All right. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? How you doing, sir? Evangelist?
How about you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. How about yourself?
Thank you. I'm really pleased. I want to say, because some of the time, DMU submission.
Okay. There's no problem.
This really resounded on what you said, like, at that point, I was just like worried about some things. Wondering if God is silent, if God is near, or if God is far. But in between, God showed up almost immediately. And what I'm trying to say is, most of us get too worried about the situation. We might first encounter finances or give some people in their marriages, asking silent questions. They've been praying, they've been asking God for strength. But so much give God praise because if you really trust God for a miracle, if you really trust God for a blessing, it doesn't matter how long you're going to wait. It doesn't matter. All what you need to do is for you to understand that God's perfect timing is the best. When you trust God, when you believe in God, because according to Psalm 36 verses 9, it says, in thee is the fountain of life, in thy light shall we see light. So when you trust God, believing God for a miracle, believing God for a turnaround, believing God for a peace, definitely God will come true for you. You don't give up on any situation you find yourself. You don't lose hope. You don't go to places you're not supposed to go because you're needing answers. Stay put. Just believe within you. Believe surely, because God says, whosoever believe shall have the life. And what is the life? The life is the answer, the healing to all situations we find ourselves. So I'm a survivor. I'm a big I've seen God's goodness in my life, and some point it might look, oh, I'm a child of God. Why is everything look being dead in my life? I'm a child of God. Why does it mean, does it look like there's no answers? Why is all these delays? But you have to understand, even the very best get tested. They get tested. So at some point, you don't have to worry about everything. You just have to speak peace. The songwriter says, I'm not worried about what I see. I'm not worried about what I feel. I'm not worried about what they say, but I'm only concerned and believe in what God says. So I'm really blessed, brother, and for each and everyone listening down there, whatever situation you find yourself. It may look like it's so dark down there in the tunnel, but trust me, believe there's light definitely for you at the end of the tunnel. So, regardless of your situations, regardless of the problems you're facing, be it in your marriage, be it in your academic, be it in your finances, be it in your health, just believe God. If you've been praying, you've been seeking for answers, trust God's timing. God's timing is the perfect. When you are losing hope, when you feel the answers are not coming, God is working behind the scene to give you that answer. God is working. God will even make strangers to help you in difficult situations. I am one of God's answered prayer. So I know what I'm saying. I've been in those places where you pray for people, they get their healings. You pray for the people and they have answers to your prayer. And you go back to your house and you're asking yourself a question. Why am I praying for people and they're getting answers? What happened? God, are you not speaking through me anymore? Am I just an empty vessel? Am I just for me to go give out and then I'm not watered? But trust God's timing. He is always there. He's within you. You shall not fail. So, brother, I was just passing through. I just feel that she just called me. Thank you very much for listening. Everyone, if supporting you, I appreciate you. Thank
No,
you. Thank
no
you.
problem, sir. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing those words of encouragement and power, because those were definitely powerful words. And that's the point that I want a lot of people to understand, that God has already given us the tools within inside of us. We just have to remember through our faith and through our connection with God to tap back into those things. Because like you said, that tunnel may look very dark, but we already have the light within us. We just got to allow it to shine. If we allow that light within us to shine, that tunnel won't be dark anymore. We'll be able to take those steps because God is already walking before us and allowing us to shine the light that He'd already put it within us. So I definitely thank you for those kind words, Evangelist, and I appreciate you for stopping by. And I definitely hope to see you in the room again, all right? I'm going to go ahead and drop you. And if anybody else would like to come up, I see you.
Thank you.
You have a great day. And I see you. Give me 1 second. Hold on. All right, there you go. Hope if it's come, there we go. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Oh, what's that echo?
Oh, it's me. Hold on.
Is there still? Okay, all right. All right, so this control thing, right? This my whole life, I felt like I had no control at all. Nothing. I didn't even know that I had the slightest control. I believed there was a God, but I wasn't, like I wasn't really into the word. I didn't know the power of God. I just knew that it was the right thing to do, to believe God. Then I had a spiritual awakening. Boom. God showed himself to me. I know he's real. He's real. I'm a saved girl, a woman, a child of God. I believe that he died on the cross for our sins. I worship Jesus Christ, okay? I just want that to be clear because there's a lot of people on social media you see and they talk about God and you could be quick to agree with something and not realize it sounds good. It does sound good in the moment and maybe it feeds the thing that you want to hear, but it's not real. You know what I'm saying? So, the control thing, right? So I didn't know I had any kind of control of my life. So I was allowing the enemy to control my life, right? And I was living in sin and I thought it was okay, because I didn't know any better. And then I gained back control of my life. And now that I know the power I have in God, the light that I have in me, I know that I have more control than what I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know as a child of God, you are favored. You have to know that. You have to know as a child of God, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You have benefits in his kingdom, So it's easy for the enemy to get in your ear. Like right now, I'm thinking release control. So I'm sitting here thinking release control. And I'm like, damn, I know I be wanting to control everything because for so long, I let the enemy control everything. And it's been chaos, so much chaos. But now that God is the center of my life and the foundation of my home, it's a whole different atmosphere in here. And when I say that I release control, I realize that the enemy tries to sneak in, because the enemy hears us too. And the enemy be like, oh, she released control. Boom, this is our time, and then try to take advantage of that thought that's in my mind. So you have to be careful what you release control of. Yes, release control and have faith in God, but release control of God. Don't, because this was my problem. I was releasing control and something would play out that was of the enemy and not of God. And I was letting it go because I'm like, oh, I release control. So no, what are you doing, Melissa? You have control in this situation because that's not from God. So I had a problem distinguishing the two. Like, you have more control than you think. You know what I mean? But in God, and you have to keep it in God. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you so much for sharing, God Built Mom. That is so true, though, because God gave us the dominion over so many things. But again, we get so distracted and get so overwhelmed by the things that's going on in our lives and in the world that we forget these gifts that God has already given us to control the things that are meant to be controlled. So I truly understand that. And you're right. The atmosphere completely changes when you start to put God in the center of everything, because you're no longer stressing. You're no longer worrying. You're no longer doubting because you have gave it to God. So you truly know that God will find a way to make it happen by truly believing in and submitting to him, to know that God, this is not my life to control, because like you said, majority of your life, you have given your life in control to the world. And now God has gotten to that point of where, okay, you did your part or you tried to figure it out. Now it's my time to take over control and to guide your life. Now it's time for you to be submissive and obedient to me so I can fulfill the true purpose of your life and not of what you think that your purpose is. So that was very powerful. And thank you so much for sharing, God Built Mom.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to let you down. Thank you. All right, good afternoon. Submission to God brings a peace control never could. That is so true, Lisa. Welcome in, Songbird, and welcome in, Coach Webb. Welcome in, Sassy. Thank all y'all for being in here today. Does anybody else have anything else they would like to say or any questions about today's topic? Any other questions, concerns, remarks, suggestions, ideas? We were not able to play the game today. We're coming. Well, you know what? We can play the game today. We got 7 minutes. We can play the game. Songbird, look, I know you was late and we're going to do a recap because you're going to play the game. All right. So go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and request you to come up, Songbird. It's a quick game. It's called God's Job versus my job. And basically you're going to, I'm going to say some words and you're going to say it's my job or it's God's job. All right. And everybody in the chat can play as well. So, you ready? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, all good. Good afternoon. So the recap was basically we was talking about control and how we feel like us planning and always having control is the best thing to do in life when we're actually hindering ourselves and stopping ourselves to fulfill God's control of what He wants us to do instead of our view of what is success in our lives. The game is God's job versus my job. And I'm going to say a statement or a word and you'll say it's my job or it's God's job to do. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, obedience.
My job.
Okay. Timing.
God's job.
All right. Results.
Both of them.
Honestly, I would give you that because you do have to put in some actions and to get those results, and it's still God's doing to get those results. Yes, I will give you that one. I like that. Okay. All right, last one for you. The purpose.
It's God's job.
There you go. And the last one for you. Your preparation.
Ooh, my job.
Yep. You got it. It's definitely our job to be prepared for what God has for us. All the things that we keep praying for and asking God for, are we really mentally, emotionally, and spiritually aligned and ready to receive those things? Because He's not going to give us something that we can just fumble and destroy and not take care of. So we got to be mindful of what we pray for. Our plan is
not God's plan, and we definitely have to trust and listen to Him.
That is it. You got it. But look, thank you for participating as usual. And I hope you have a wonderful Friday and drive safely.
I know. You as well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you for participating, Songbird, as usual. Does anybody else want to participate or play the game? We have 4 more minutes before I end this live. So if you would like to come up or play the game, definitely just hit a request and you can come on up. Again, it's a free atmosphere. There's no pressure. There's no judgment. It's just Free Your Mind Friday. That's what we call it here, okay? I did have another game that we'll probably play next week. It's called Control or Trust. You basically say control or trust, basically constantly checking your bank account because you're worried. Is that control or is that trust? Praying and then trusting God with your finances. Is that control or trust? Obsessing over whether someone texts you back. Is that control or trust? Respecting their space and living your life. Is that trust or control? So, basically the main topic of today and the reasoning behind today is that we got to let go and let God, y'all. We really have to let go and let God. We want to always control everything, have our hands in all the pots and make sure that we, can really predict or dictate our own future. But we really don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Something tomorrow can change something for the rest of our lives. So we really have to stay focused and seek God. Seeking God will open doors and meet people and have so many opportunities that you will never experience or have the opportunity to experience without being in His presence. So focus on God, seek God, pray, read your Bibles, build your relationship with God. The closer you get to Him, the closer you get to your blessings, to your promises, and also how easier life becomes. It really does, because you're stress-free. You're not worried. You're not doubting. You're just literally following the steps that God has already aligned for you. And I promise you will be so much peaceful and so much happier once you do that. All right. Welcome in, Farrah. Thank you for coming in at the end of the live, but I truly appreciate it. The relational part hits close to heart. I've been because praying for restoration. Yes, and we need to be restored because, like God's mom said earlier, we have basically lived our whole majority of our lives, or most of our lives, living in the control of the world, doing what the world says we can do or what we can't do or how we should do it or why we should do it. But now it's time to truly surrender it all to God, submit, and let him know that, hey, I'm giving it all to you so you can guide me, so you can lead me and show me what my true purpose on this planet is. Because we can, again, be trying to pursue the pursuit of happiness as much as we want to. But once we get to the end, we really didn't find that pursuit of happiness because it wasn't God's purpose. It wasn't in line with God. So we put in all that work and wasted time to start all the way back over to do what God really wants us to do in our lives. So take your time, pray about it, think about it, and bring God into everything that you do. Everything that you do, every decision you make, every choice that you make, bring God into it and he will definitely show you. Yes, I'm flawed, healing, and becoming what he's called me to be. That's it, Lisa. We are all flawed. Ain't none of us perfect. I promise you that. Not one perfect person on this live is perfect. They may paint that picture of perfectionism, but no. And don't put nobody on this pedestal because it's not them that's blessing you, it's God. I am the vessel that God is using to anoint and speak to y'all. All right? So don't ever think that it's me that's presenting these words to y'all, because I promise you, half the time when I get off this live, I don't even remember half the things that I said, even though I got it written down and typed out. But God still uses me because I allow myself to submit myself to him and him to use me to speak to y'all. That's it. That's it, Coach Will. But someone did ask for a prayer of strength, so I am going to do a quick prayer before we dismiss like we're in church. But I am going to say a quick prayer before I let y'all go, okay? I appreciate you, Songbird. It's all God. That's all I can say. It's all God. It's all God, all right? So I am going to bow my head and close my eyes because that's how I build my connection with God, all right? So, dear God, I thank you today for everyone that's in this live. God, I thank you for allowing them to tune in and hear the word that I did release to them today. I ask that you touch everybody in this live today, from the top of their head to the soles of their feet, God. I ask that you fill every emptiness spot that is empty at this point. I ask that you give them the strength, the mindset, and the favor to get through whatever they're dealing with. Give them the courage and the confidence of you to be able to face anything that they withstand. Take away the fear and the doubt out of their spirits and out of their mind, because you made them the way that they are meant to be. God, just continue to give them the strength to know that you made it possible, that you put them in this position for a reason, for either them to learn, to build from, or to be able to share with someone else that is coming up right behind them, God. I just thank you again for this Free Your Mind Friday. I hope everyone in this room was released today and they felt the word that was spread it. And I also ask that you give them a peaceful weekend, God. Lead them into next week with no problems, no concerns, no thoughts of negativity. I ask that you just, again, heal everyone's heart and mind in this room, God. Allow them to know that you are real and show them that what true love is, because in this day and time, the world is losing and missing what true love is. Not just the word, but the actual action of love, God. I thank you all again for being in this live. I ask God to continue to move in your lives and the people around y'all. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen. Amen and amen. All right. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for being in here today. I thank y'all for the taps, the likes, the shares, the questions, the engagement. I truly appreciate y'all. For all the new people that are in here today, I thank y'all for the follows. Definitely reassure that you hit the alert bell so you guys know when I do come live again, which is usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also have my website available for anyone that is interested in my coaching. It is No Fear, No Doubt, NFND, PositiveLifeCoaching.com. It is in my profile if anyone is interested, has any questions, or want to know a little bit more about my coaching and how my coaching is set up. Definitely reach out to that website, just get some more information. I'm also available on Google, so anyone that has had my coaching or I have inspired or motivated you in any form, please go to Google, just Google No Fear, No Doubt Positive Life Coaching and leave me a review. That would be truly appreciated. And other than that, I thank everyone again for just spending some time with me today and allowing God to speak to you and hear you out. Yes, it's just been pinned for the website that if anybody is interested. I am aware that June is mental health month. So I will be trying to build my community, because as you can see, there are a lot of females in here, which I do not have a problem with. I love it. But I want to get more men in here. I want men to feel welcome and to know that it's okay to express themselves, and that, you know, it's okay to talk. It's okay to show your emotions. So I will be coming with a live or some type of event to do for the men for this month, just to know that, you know, God is there with them. God hears you. You're not alone. And we're going to get through this together. So if you have any male counterparts, male friends that need some guidance, some understanding, they'll just need to vent, please send them my way. Because again, I've been through enough things in my life that I understand where they are, what they're going through, and God sent me here to get them through it. Okay. So other than that, y'all stay blessed, stay anointed, stay aligned, and continue to trust God. All right. Continue to trust God. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and see y'all all back here Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Coach No Fear. All right. Y'all have a good one. See y'all later.